And the Canadian dollar, US dollar Canadian, right over here is, of course, a function of the look at the oil market. So when the oil market is strong, then generally the US dollar is weak versus the Canadian. So we're looking at US dollar Canadian in this case. And when the US dollar goes down, that really is reflection of a strong Canadian dollar. That's usually when oil is going up. And oil went up right through here. Now oil started to consolidate. You can see the change in here. You can see the low where it came right over here and where these two cycles were pushing down. And the same thing over here. Those are those yellow zones, and that's where there's a lot of risk that the US dollar is going to come down. Now it's in a period where the likely US dollar rallies. Now this minor cycle right over here, the very midpoint is that May period again. And that could be where this dollar peaks. Really, it's a function of oil, so we need to see what happens in the oil market, but we still think oil market is going to consolidate for some significant period of time now. So that gives room for anything to happen in here if oil is just kind of stable and trading in a range. Remember, we said oil about 115 down to 90. Is really what the range is, and we expect it to stay in that range, and I expect that the US dollar Canadian will continue in this range here, and then sometime in this May-June period start to come down into July right there for the minor cycle. This is an important low right over there where that low was made. So if I just grab that line right over there and put in that last cycle low, which was right here, right at that point, that if it ever gets under there, that would be a very bearish occurrence for the US dollar Canadian. It's a long way down from where it is right now, but that's really the key number. And if that happened, well, that would be a major top that had been forming in here for this currency pair. And if anything, when I say major top, when you look at the bigger picture in here, the US dollar versus the Canadian overall is actually in a big bear market. And what you've seen here in these last two cycles, right, this one right in here, which built this base, and this one right in here, which was a sideways cycle, is a consolidation of this big break. So at some point in here, it's likely, and maybe after this rally in here, that this big decline in the dollar versus the Canadian is going to resume. And certainly in a world of higher commodity prices, and you have a natural resource economy like Canada, it makes sense that the US dollar is going to have a very big decline again against the Canadian. So it probably comes after this next rally out over here into the summertime, and then when you get into this declining area, or that next yellow phase over there, which I haven't put in here, but I can just duplicate that and show you way out over here. That's where there's potential for a very large drop in the dollar versus the Canadian, or a big rally in the Canadian if you're trading the futures. So you can see how that sets up, and now it's looking like the consolidation, it probably ended when you broke underneath that VTL right there. And that is a bad sign, and likely means that it's going to fail in these resistance areas. So that sets up what could be a very big short side trade in the dollar versus the Canadian. Here's your daily pattern right in here, and you can see this big give back right there as it comes back down to the support area. There's your 78.6 right over there, and I'm just going to duplicate that and put this down at that low right there. And that's the point where if it breaks underneath that 124, it's pretty bad. Right now, you can see that the way this is changing, and that means that that is likely a top right in there. And the momentum has been lost. So I'm just going to redo this a little bit so you can see. We'll project this down to around the 78.6 at the minor cycle right down over there based on the magnitude of that drop. And then one more rally phase out over here on this minor cycle, somewhere out like that. So this is right now, in my opinion, for short-term traders, it looks like it will pull down close to that 124.5 area. Again, under 124, and it's over with.